despite the fact that we did everything right, we paid off all our debt, we had money in the bank, at the time we had two really good paying jobs, we had investments that were successful, but we still couldn't afford to retire in the U.S. because of healthcare, and
Yeah.
it was specifically healthcare,
Wow.
and
Hi, can I ask you a favor? If you find our content helpful, can you hit that subscribe button? It's free and it truly helps us grow.
Today we're heading down to one of the most beautiful countries in Central America, Panama. And we're going to Boquete with my buddy Christopher Minori. Christopher, how you doing?
hello, hello, I'm doing good, thank you very much. It's
Good
good
to
to be
see you.
back.
Yeah, good to see you. We did a podcast about two years ago. If you guys want to check it out, it's still on the channel. And there's a lot of this information. We're going to ask a lot of the same information today. Just to give you guys an update, many people are interested in Boquete. Boquete is a really special place in Panama. I'm going to let Christopher, just let's start off first by you just giving a little backstory about you, where you're from, how you landed in Panama and Boquete.
Yeah. So, uh, I rewatched a video. That video we did. Oh my God, I got to get you to do my marketing, right? Because I have got so many calls. I've met so many of your listeners when they came here. I threw out this invitation. Hey, give me a call if you're coming here. We'll go ahead. And a lot of people took me up on that, and so it was
Wow.
really neat to get to meet a lot of those people and
Did
get
any of
to
them move
answer their
there?
question. One of them, I know at least one. There may have been a
Okay.
couple others, but at least one has recently moved here. So, and
Nice.
she's enjoying it. I helped her
Yeah.
find an apartment.
Wow. Okay.
Um, but so we got here because my wife and I was 53, 54 at the time, and my wife's about 11 years younger, and we wanted to retire young, and we wanted to do it together. We were kind of done with, we worked in very high stress jobs, and we were done with them. We wanted to just the sweet life. But despite the fact that we did everything right, we paid off all our debt, we had money in the bank, at the time we had two really good paying jobs, we had investments that were successful, but we still couldn't afford to retire in the U.S. because of healthcare, and
Yeah.
it was specifically healthcare.
Wow.
And we happened to be watching House Hunters International, and we like that show, and we're watching it, and they're showing, I think it was Ecuador at the time, they're showing these videos of houses on the beach for $130,000, and we just kind of thought, well, would you be willing to move? And she was like, would you be willing to move? And our our daughters were both, they were grown up, they weren't in the house with us, and so we didn't really have anything holding us here. So we just got a different mindset and started kind of going through a big list of wants and where we might move. We started with, all the English places because that's the easiest, right? So we looked
Yeah.
at England, we looked at Canada, and they were all so expensive. And then
Did you
we
look at
started.
Belize?
No, I don't remember that police was on the list. I don't think it was.
Okay.
So, we had certain wants. It had to be warm, right? Not insanely hot, like say Panama City,
Yeah.
but we wanted it warm, and it had to be close to home so we could visit our kids easy, or if there was an emergency, and a couple other things. And then we just started realizing that the Latin American countries were the most cost effective.
Okay.
And once we got turned that way, we found that Costa Rica and Panama were always at the top of the list for expat retirees. And we started looking at those too. And it was a close toss up, but Costa Rica was a little bit more expensive. There were all those rampant T-Rex attacks right over at that amusement park, Jurassic Park. And we didn't want anything to do with that. And and it was a bit more touristy at the time, I should say, kind of ironic. But
So if you're watching this and thinking about moving to one of these countries, but you're not sure which one actually fits you, that's exactly why we created the Ideal Destination Finder. It'll collect your answers and rank your top 3 destinations. And we do this based on your budget, lifestyle, and priorities. It cuts through the confusion, saves you a lot of time and money, and helps you focus on the countries that make most sense to you. Just go to adventurefreaks.com, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see it on the left there. Just click it and get started. Now let's get back to the video.
But so we wound up choosing Panama, and we chose Boquete because of the temperature.
Okay.
Very, very hot in much of Panama. Now I'm more used to it. I go to David now, and the heat doesn't really bother me, the humidity. But at the time, it was, man, we got off the plane in Panama City the first time we came to visit. And my wife's like, "Oh my God, the humidity just punched me in the face." And she's like, if Boquete is like this, the deal's off. We're not doing
Mhm.
it. But it wasn't. It's, it averages about 70-ish degrees, and uh it's beautiful here all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's how we wound up here in Boquete.
Before you guys chose Boquete and you were doing all this research, did you guys do like an exploratory tour? Did you go check it out first?
We did. We
Okay.
it was our 20th wedding anniversary was coming up. And so I booked one of the retirement tours.
Yeah.
Um and so it was, I mean, it was not, it was a lot, it was a little expensive. It was like, maybe, I want to say it was $4,000 for the two of us, right?
Uh-huh.
But I liked it because it made stuff, and we researched a lot. So if you don't research, these tours are invaluable because they'll give you all the information you need and answer all your questions. We knew most of that, but we wanted to see the whole countryside. And these guys, that money included, we had several stays across in different cities, and it
Hmm.
included the rent and the food cost and everything. So and it was our anniversary, so we decided we'd do that. And yeah, we were already pretty sure we were going to go to Boquete,
Okay.
and we did. So we did that whole tour, and that tour ended in Boquete, and then we spent an additional week for anniversary here. And man, just fell in love with the place.
Okay.
What I'll tell you, what grabbed me was the people, right? Everywhere I went, these Panamanians were just, "Good morning, hello, how are you, good day." Every time you pass somebody, they said something nice, and they were also welcoming, right?
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of people, I've seen those questions even on the video we did, where they're like, "Well, how do the Panamanians feel about gringos coming in and everything?" And for the most part, they seemed very, very welcoming to me. And then
Hmm.
the other gringos were nice too, but it was really the warmth of the Panamanian people that made me went, "I want to live here. This is the atmosphere I want."
Hmm.
It feels like
Yeah.
one giant neighborhood to me.
Yeah. Was there anything that that's, I've spent a good amount of time in Panama, and I gotta agree that the people are just really amazing there. And it's
Yeah,
just a friendly, warm
it really is.
culture, and I really enjoy. I actually many years ago said this is where I will retire
Hmm.
because it's always the people.
Right.
The culture's fantastic. The country's beautiful. The food is amazing. It's got it all. Boquete
Right.
is really stuck out though. It's one of those places, and it's one of those rare places that what you said, it's 70 degrees year around,
Yeah.
which means no heat, no air conditioning. It's
Right.
very affordable on the
Yeah.
utilities, and a lot of people have moved there. But is there anything? What else stands out about Boquete that makes what makes this place so special that so many people want to go live there?
Well, I mean, it's a beautiful place. It's small, but we get so much tourists here, right? And they come for the various arts and the festivals we have. We just finished off the Flower Festival, which is an awesome event here each year. Um, the music. I mean, this is, Boquete to me, and I haven't been everywhere in Panama, but to me, it's kind of like the Greenwich Village of Panama,
Okay.
or the Asbury Park, where it's all such an artist community, so bohemian, right?
Oh,
There's everybody does music. There's painting groups. There's sewing circles. I think I've heard about. I run an authors group. There's just so much art. There's, one theater very, very famous here, BCP. There's a second theater that we're starting over at Tap Out Productions. So there's a lot of theater. It's just there's so much art. To me, that's fantastic. And then, it's just beautiful. It's good if, a lot of people, I think, when they first move here, probably don't speak too much Spanish. And because it's such a large expat community, a lot of English spoken here.
yeah.
It's very easy to get by with little to no Spanish. Now, I recommend you try to learn and try to use it. And even if it's broken, they really appreciate that.
Sure.
They want you to take on their culture. And as you should, you're coming to someone else's country. Your most likeliness of success is if you come here, you take on the culture, you try to learn Spanish. My wife speaks Spanish great. She's got this brilliant mind. We got here, and she was remembering stuff from high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got here. I failed 3 years of Spanish, right? So for me, it has been much more difficult. But even with my broken Spanish, they really, really appreciate the fact that I'm trying.
Yeah. Sure.
And they're very happy to correct me.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's great. It's such a great learning ground, but it sounds like
Yeah.
Boquete has become a good, starting point if you're going to move abroad
Mhm.
because it's easy, to connect with other people.
Right.
But I did not know that. Like when I was in Boquete years ago, and I don't recall the bohemian vibe that you just described, but that makes
Hmm.
it even that much more interesting to me.
Yeah.
You and I are, we have background. You're a theater guy.
Yeah.
I was an actor in New York, so we share that similarity. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about your theater and what you guys are doing. You're starting a new theater troupe, or
Yeah. We're starting a new theater troupe. It's called Tap Out Productions. It's at the Tap Out restaurant.
okay,
They've converted one of their rooms into a theater. We've done one or two small productions there. We're going to do Rocky Horror Picture or the Rocky
oh,
Horror Show this year, the
that'll be
play.
fun.
I know.
Nice.
I always take on the Halloween shows because I like to do the weird stuff, right?
Are you directing
Um,
that, Christopher?
I will be directing that one. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I'm very excited about it. We've got a variety show coming up. We've done one. If you go to my YouTube channel, CT Minori, um, you can see a lot of the productions we've done.
Okay.
This used to be a theater. It used to be for the BCP, which I think are certainly more well known right now. And they're taking that back as their home, but the two troops are gonna share the theater. We support each other, and who wins is the community, right? To me, I always thought the one thing there was in a dearth of in Boquete was theater and music everywhere. I mean, music's all over the place, and there's any other art type you want to find is here.
Hmm.
But BCP was the only ones doing theater, and so it was. You basically had their schedule and a few plays a year, and now you've got a second group, and they'll have a few plays a year. And to me, the community wins, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm
It's
I'm super excited about it.
yeah, that's awesome. And you said people play there's musicians around there that play?
Oh, there's tons of musicians everywhere you go. There's a band. Everyone's in a band.
Okay.
You can. I've done it. Right. I play harmonica and very
Okay.
poorly,
Yeah.
and but I've gone to a bar where someone's playing and they're like, "Oh, you play harmonica? You got your harmonica? Come on up!" and just start jamming with them. Right. And then I've seen much better musicians than me just go up with their guitar or whatever. There's so much music, and the music rarely costs you anything, right?
Yeah.
That's the nice thing. Entertainment in this town is mostly free. You go to a bar, you order some food. I go to Mike's Global Grill. I've mentioned that before. I love it there. And they have band every Friday, Saturday night. I'll go there. I buy my food, buy some really nicely priced drinks and listen to the bands. We've got everything from Panamanian music to cover bands, to reggae.
Yeah.
We got
Yeah.
one guy, Dudley, the Island Breeze, and his wife Joanna, and they're amazing. My love to them. But they brought reggae to Boquete, and that was awesome because I'm a big reggae guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody's in a band. If you like music and you want to be in a band, you just got to throw something out on Facebook looking for a band and you'll find a
And
job
you'll find
quick.
it.
I think it's a reason to come here, right?
Okay.
Like, like you say, I don't hear a lot of other people say, oh, Boquete's the artist capital of Panama. But from what I've seen, it is.
Yeah.
Um, and not just music. Music is the big thing, but like I said, theater and authors and sewing and crochet,
Yeah.
just everything, man. Karaoke's huge here.
No, really.
Believe it or not, there's karaoke playing someplace in Boquete 7 days a week. All
Wow.
by the same guy, by the way. DJ Davis, man. He's at every one of these places. He just travels from place to place and does his karaoke every night.
You gotta
So
love them. You gotta
yeah. Oh,
love it,
I love it.
man.
I was at karaoke last night. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive into some of this info about living in Panama. Okay, so
Hmm.
everybody needs a visa.
Hmm.
Um, you're tell us what the visa you're on. That's changed, so it's not really.
It has.
So if you know about the retirement visa, but you could tell us
Yeah.
about your visa as well.
Sure. I came in, I think most people come in on the pensionado,
Yes.
right? If you have some type of pension, a lot of people who come here, they're older, they already have Social Security, or they're boomers who worked in that time frame where you would still get pensions from your work, lifetime pensions. Got to
Yep.
have a lifetime pension to get the pensionado. But anybody can do it. It's not based on your age. If you're, you know, 25 and you've already retired from, you haven't, but if you've retired from the military or whatever, you have a lifetime pay, you could still get the pensionado and you get
Yes.
all the retirement discounts and everything that goes with it. We came in on the Friendly Nations visa. As I said, my wife and I were both younger. We did not have pensions. Neither of us, even now, we don't collect Social Security yet. Um, so we were living on investments and savings and things like that. And when we did this, and it was 4.5 years ago, um, it was different. And I had to put $5,000 in the bank, which of course was still my money. It just had to be in the bank for a month or something. I
Hmm.
think we paid about $8,000 in fees and lawyers' fees and all of that, and that's pretty much it.
Hmm.
All the paperwork and everything you had to do, but it wasn't like we had to do anything extra. But now Pensionado has changed a couple times. First, they changed it where you had to make $160,000 investment. Now I think it's over 200 or 200. It's something around there. And investment could be you invest in a business, or you buy your own business, or you buy a house,
Yeah.
which has sent the Panama housing market a little more expensive because people went from houses that might have been going for 130, and then they realized, oh, well, new expats are going to have to pay 160, so I'll just raise my house to 160. And I
Right.
think
Right.
some of that has happened at the
Interesting.
200, yeah, at the current range as well. Um, but you can still find good deals. I know people who do. I know people who buy a piece of property, decent price, and then have a house built.
Hmm.
That's a whole thing on its own
Sure.
because nothing happens fast here in Panama. Um, but yeah, now it costs you a lot of money to do Friendly Nations visa. And I still know a few people who come in on that. Pretty much everybody else is coming on the pensionado. I think you need like 1,000, might even be a little under 1,000 if it's just you. 1,200, and check these figures.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't take them verboten. And so I think around 1,200 for two people, a couple,
Yeah.
and that's, I mean, to retire, it's so cheap. The pensionado, if you can do the pensionado, if you got a pension, that's the way to come in.
Yes.
It's the cheapest way. It's the fastest way. It's the easiest way. And then along with that, you get what's called the Jubilado discount,
Yeah. Yep.
which gives you something like 25% off plane
I,
tickets
I
and
know. It's incredible.
off of restaurants and off of medications, which is really important here.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's great, and you can get that even if you come in on friendly nations. There's age ranges, like for a woman it's 55, and for a man it's 60. So
Okay.
I'm real happy. I'm going to hit 60 this year. I'm getting my discount. Where's my discount?
Oh, that's
My
great.
coupons.
Yeah. All right. So the friendly nations, basically, that's interesting what happens because they up that. Now you
Yeah,
gotta show 200,000 of
yeah, I
an,
think that's what it is
and
now.
so they increase. So some people that were selling homes for 120, they bumped them right up to 200,000 because
They
that would
did.
immediately qualify somebody to obtain residency through that
Right,
process.
right, exactly.
But you can get it through the pensionado if you qualify, and it's 1,000 a month. Um, so all right, that's great information. Now, what are everybody needs to find a place to live? What is it easy to find a place to live in Boquete? And what are the rentals going for these days?
Well, so in Boquete, first it depends on time of year, right? I don't know if this is true across all of Panama, but at I here during what we call high season, which is what we're in right now, um, it's this is when it's not raining and everything. It's very windy here. That's when we have most of our tourists come in because they come for the flower festival. They come for all these different things, right? And the weather's not raining every day, so they like to come in during that time. And so all the rents go up. So like right now is actually a pretty bad time to rent. But around April rents will drop.
Okay.
And the best way, I had a lot of listeners of the last video who reached out to me, would ask me, hey, we're going to be down in 6 months, we're going to be down in 3 months, even 1 month, and we need a place to stay. Can you hook us up with somebody? And you don't want to do that, right? You want to wait till you get on ground, right? You don't
Hmm.
want to rent anything sight unseen here.
Sure.
Um, and you definitely want to come on ground. And once you get boots on the ground, if you're making friends, you're talking with people, you're putting bugs in people's ears, and that's the best way to find housing. And yeah, there's a lot of housing, a lot more than I think people would think is here.
Okay.
I still know people. My friend just before we went into high season, got this great apartment right in town. I think it was maybe $600, 2 bedroom.
Oh, wow.
It might have been seven, might have been a little bit more, but
Okay.
um and right in town. I mean, right even closer than we are, and we're just down the street, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um it helps if you can get the way in the States we would get a real estate person when we're buying a house. Those people also work with rentals here.
Hmm.
So, if you know somebody, they can hook you up with their person. And if they know of places, that's how we found our place. We
Hmm.
got hooked up with a rental agent. She found us this amazing house, same house we were living in when we did the last interview. We absolutely love it. Um, give you an idea of how some of the pricing has gone up. Our house when we first lived here, it's 2 bedroom with a studio and a separate room, a separate little building with our washer and dryer and storage area, and a nice property, nice sized property. And I think we were paying 950 when we first came. That was about 4.5 years ago.
Okay.
Since then, our rent has gone up to 1,100. So we're paying a
Okay.
little bit more. Still amazing. I mean, it's still
Yeah.
way cheaper than what I was paying for an 800 square foot apartment, one bedroom, one
Yeah.
bath apartment in the States. Um, we got really lucky. We got a really great landlord. And so she has done so many upgrades. We didn't have any qualms about she's, I'm 6'5". I'm a big guy. And so she had the shower raised in the back. I said, hey, any chance we can maybe raise the shower head? And she redid the entire bathroom. She's redone our kitchen. I woke up one morning and went out onto my porch, and suddenly there were two new rocking chairs there, and so we have this amazing landlord. We didn't mind paying the extra cost, and it's still an amazing deal,
Well,
you
yeah,
know.
for a house, you got a house.
Yeah. Right.
So it's not just an apartment, which is ideal,
Right.
Now, all right, so rentals are going to start probably at around 600. It sounds like you could still find these
Uh,
rentals within the center of Boquete.
there are some apartments that are even less. I know of one apartment complex charges about 500 for two small. They're small bedrooms, but a two-bedroom apartment
Wow.
right by the park. Right, we have a beautiful park here, and it's right by the park. And there are other places as well. And then as you start to move out of the township of Boquete, then the prices start coming down.
Yeah.
A lot of people live up on Volcancito Road, up the mountain, because
Yeah.
you can get a nice size house for decent prices there. Um,
How much are those houses going for out there?
I've seen anywhere. Oh gosh, you know what? I don't want to throw that out because I don't know if
Okay.
I know my friends were renting them, and I don't want to put out bad information.
Okay.
Um,
But if you do
but
move out there, Christopher, that's when you need a vehicle and you have to buy a vehicle.
yeah, well, so there is a great bus system here that
Okay.
picks up almost everywhere. There's taxis, and the taxis are cheap. The bus is super cheap, but then of course you're waiting for people. You're on other people's schedules at that point, right? And I didn't
Hmm.
want that, so we bought a car. Yeah, as you move out further, to me, I think you'll want a car, right? And
Hmm.
just me. I love driving, so I feel like you want a car anyway. You want to go to David. I go to David sometimes. I go to the mall if I'm like, I want McDonald's, right? Like,
Yeah.
because we don't get that too often.
That's
um,
interesting.
mhm.
David has become a place that's talked about. What is David like? I've never been there. And also, before I forget, how far if you wanted to go to the beach? How far is Boquete if you wanted to drive to the beach and spend a day on the beach?
Depends on the beach, but maybe about 90 minutes.
Okay.
Hour
Hour and a half.
15. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's not that far. There Some of the beaches are nice. It's nice being on the beach. The sand is weird, right? The sand has a lot of volcanic ash mixed in it.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you'll see that the sand on the beaches is black.
It's like darker. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
right, right. And I'm afraid of the ocean. So I go to
Oh.
the beach and then I just stay in the pool, right? That's what I do. I don't go in the ocean. There's a lot of, you got to be very careful. Big warning if you're going to go swimming at the beaches, talk to people and make sure because there's a lot of riptides here.
Yeah.
Like in Costa Rica, what's his name? Was it Malcolm Jamal Warner? I think
Yes.
last
Yep.
year got killed by the riptides, and
Yep.
that happens here too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll go to an island, a little island, and on one side the beach is beautiful and no problem swimming, and on the other side there's riptides. Right, so
Yeah.
you really got to ask around and make sure. Don't just jump into the water because
It's
it can
very
be
true.
hazardous.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. And it's very true. We lost a friend like that too, that another
Sorry to
actor
hear that.
friend years ago got caught up in a riptide overseas in the Caribbean. And it happens. I mean, because they're
Yeah,
just not, they don't have the, what do the people call lifeguards? They
yeah.
don't have
Lifeguards. There's no
they don't,
lifeguards. There's
there's
no
no lifeguards in any of these beaches. So you're on your
no.
own and you need to be very, very
Yeah,
careful and talk to the people to get an understanding of what's going on.
yeah.
So David, what is
Hmm.
that like? And is the weather similar to Boquete? And I know it's a
No,
city. And
no.
then I hear it's really, really cheap to live there. Like the
It
rentals are really affordable. Is that
right.
accurate?
So I don't know how much they go, but I do know they're cheaper because I know a lot of people who uh might have, lived here and then were looking for cheaper financial situations
Yeah.
because Boquete, the price has gone up some, and it's not wasn't the most, the cheapest place to start at anyway. So and they always move to David. Um,
Okay.
it is so much hotter, so
Okay.
much hotter and more humid, and that may be part of the reason, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's big. It's our big city. It's where if you want to go to the movies, that's where you go is to
Hmm.
David. Boy, the movies are so cheap here. I can't believe how much you guys pay in the States. It's crazy.
So I don't ever go. I just watch Netflix or something.
Yeah, my wife and I, we use our credit card to buy our tickets. We get two tickets for price of one. It's like $3. So
Hmm.
when we went and saw Fantastic Four, I'm a superhero guy, and we saw it for like $3. And then I think we paid for a giant tub of popcorn and two sodas and candy and stuff. We paid like another $10 to $15 for that.
Hmm.
And then I hear about people in the States, you're taking out second mortgages to go
Oh
to the
yeah.
movies.
Yeah, no, it's expensive.
It's crazy. But anyway,
Changed.
that's where you go. It's where most of the fast food, we actually had a Domino's just open up here in Boquete.
Oh
That's our
wow.
only, yeah, that's our only American fast food that's opened here. But in David, you can get McDonald's, you can get Burger King. I think they just opened a Wendy's there.
Okay.
So if you're feeling a little homesick, want some, American fast food, you go down to David and do that. The
Hmm.
mall is a huge mall there
Hmm.
that is finally starting to grow
Hmm.
into its size, and that's nice.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, restaurants and the Price Mart, which is kind of the Costco of of Panama. Everybody goes to Price Mart.
Hmm.
It's a lot cheaper, but we all go there. Yeah, and stuff like getting your driver's license. That all those government offices are down there. There's a couple
Hmm.
here, but most of them are in the big hospital is there.
Hmm. Okay.
So yeah, it's the big city, but it's definitely cheaper because I've seen people trying to cut their costs and they moved there.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could do it. I'm more used to the heat now, but I don't. It's so much more humid. So we are about in Boquete, we're about 3,000, 3,500 yeah, feet above sea level.
Yeah.
And I believe part of David is a little bit negative sea level.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's a big, big difference.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
all downhill from where we are. You get on the highway, Viable Ketty Highway, and you just take your foot off the gas and it just coasts you all the way to the V, right?
Yeah. How long does
Um,
it take you to get there?
it's 30, 40 minutes.
Okay, it's
Not
close.
very fast. That's where our airport is.
Okay.
So, if you want to go to Panama City or go back to the States, you usually leave from David to
Hmm.
fly to Panama City and then pick up a U.S. flight there.
Yeah. Christopher, yeah, thanks for that. Getting back to the real estate.
Hmm.
So you've been there now for like 5 years,
Yeah,
right?
just
Okay.
about. Yeah.
Have you thought about buying a property? And you mentioned people are buying land and they're building. Do you
Sure.
have any idea what the cost of that is if you buy land and build a property or a house, what it's going to cost overall? Have you looked at?
I I don't. We were not really interested in buying a house, right? Because
Okay.
we had just gotten out of, two houses when we moved here, and we wanted the freedom to be able to move wherever. There's so many microclimates here in Panama, right? And we thought, well, what if we're not? What if we want to go try someplace else in Panama, right? Volcan, I've thought about a couple times. Um, so we have not been interested in tying ourselves down. We moved here with four suitcases and we got
Okay.
rid of everything else we owned, right?
Hmm.
And so we're not in any hurry to start putting down these ties again and owning a whole lot of stuff and owning a house. And our big fear is, if we both died, now my daughter in the US, 25 years old, has got to manage this house in another country,
Okay.
and so we weren't interested in any of that. Um, Having said that, I've lived in the same house for 4.5 years almost, right? About 4 years. I love the house here. I guess if my landlord was had decided to sell or something, I might consider putting in a bid for this place just because I
Sure.
love it so much.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Okay. Now, you said that you purchased a vehicle.
yeah,
Where did you, how do you purchase a vehicle down there? And also, do you have a Panamanian driver's license? And how do you obtain that if you do?
right. Yeah, I do. Both my wife and I have a driver's license from Panama. You have to be a resident to get it. Um, we well, there's two ways. One is you can go and take the driver's test as an American expat. And I don't know if it's true for expats all over the world, but as an American expat, we were able to bring our driving record and our active U.S. license to the embassy, the U.S. embassy. That was in Panama City. We did that, and basically they went through it all. It took maybe 20 minutes, and they filled out a sheet for us, and then we took that back to the VED, and they gave us a license that day.
Oh,
Right, we didn't have
wow.
to take a
Okay.
driver's test or anything. The car we use, there is somebody who will assist you everywhere, right?
Hmm.
Like if you're buying a house, you can find somebody who's going to assist you with that. If you're buying a car, there's someone who can assist you with that. If you're going to take the driver's test, there's someone who can assist you with that, right?
Hmm.
You pay them, of course, but they kind of walk you through the process. They're experts. And so we found one of a car expert. He had been doing it a long time, and he found us a great car. I want to say it was a 2017. I want to say
Hmm.
it was a Honda Civic. I don't remember what we paid, but I do remember it was below book in the
Okay.
U.S. And it's been a great car for us. We've had to fix a few things, but not much, And
Okay.
now it's 5 years older, and I guess it was about 4 years old when we bought it, 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you're just visiting, you can use your U.S. license for 90 days and drive on that. Um, but after that, you basically have to leave the country and come back in order to be able to start driving again. Once you get a permanent residency, you can't use your U.S. license anymore. It's just
Yeah.
it's even if you have time on that 90 days left, you can't. They won't allow it, and there are checkpoints in Panama, and they'll check and make sure that you're legal to be driving.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is it sounds like it's pretty easy to get a license in some countries, like even in Italy. I mean, you gotta take the driver's license test in Italian. And a lot of
Right,
people just can't pass it. There's a lot of people that try and just can't pass it. And they
yeah,
try and it's all in Italian. And that's a requirement to be able to drive in Italy.
right,
So and there are other countries that are very similar. So just kind of showing, hey, I got a license from the United States, and they give you another license down there
right.
is convenient. Um,
Yeah.
what do
Well,
you?
one of the real quick, one of the important things to be aware of when you do buy a car is to make sure you get the car that everybody's driving, right? Honda, Nissan. I can't think of what some of the other ones are, but because otherwise it's like dealing with having an imported car, right? There's only so many parts here in Panama. They don't stock. It's not like the US where they stock everything,
Yeah,
right? My
yeah.
friend has I think he's got a Ram, a Dodge Ram, and his car was in the shop. He had a small problem. His car was in the shop for God, it must have been months just because they couldn't get the parts, you
Yeah,
know?
sure.
So to me, really, you've really got to think about that. Get the car that everybody else has, and then you'll never have problems when you need parts. My car needed some ball bearings the other day. He was able to get them within a day, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's Honda. Everybody's got a Honda.
That's a great point. All right. Well, um, what did you do about banking? And how did you set up a bank? And how did you know what bank to go to in Panama?
So for us, that was part of getting our visa, the Friendly Nations visa. And I think it may be part of what you have to do to get your pensionado too. I think you just need that if you're getting a visa. They want you to put some money in a bank. And so, as our Friendly Nations visa, we had to put $5,000 in the bank. I don't know if that cost has changed or not, or that
Hmm.
requirement has changed. But we had an attorney to help us through the
Okay.
process, and she was really good with. She was in good with a bank called Benismo, and so we decided to go there. Even though in Boquete, there's not a Benismo bank. It's the only bank is over in David, is the closest one. But we
Hmm.
don't have to take money out of the bank too often that we have to worry about it. And we can still use ATMs here if we want.
Yeah.
So we went with that because that was what she had, ties there. And so I've heard horror stories of people going to the bank and being there all day, being pushed off to the next day, and just tons of horror stories. We were in and out in an hour, right? Our
Okay.
attorney just squared us away. She went with us. She handled everything. So yeah, it was simple, but like I said, I think for every visa, you need to get that bank account. So it
Yeah.
was part of the process.
Yeah, it's great information. See, I didn't know it was that difficult, but we do, just for the viewers, we work with Celine Weyerman, and she can be our, I have a link at adventurefreaks.com, and she helps people set up bank accounts and emigrate to Panama. So just if anybody's needs that information, you could find it at adventurefreaks.com under Panama. But great information. Let's break down, Christopher, some of the basic costs. So you're paying about $1,100 a month in rent. What are
Uh,
utilities running you
we
per month?
pay Right. We pay 1,100 in rent. We Utilities. The temperature here in Boquete is so nice that nobody or almost nobody has an AC or a heater unit, and that's really what generates your those high bills. I
Yes.
know in like Coronado, right, everybody has an AC,
Yes.
in Panama City,
Panama City. Yeah.
and I've heard that their AC or their bills, electric bills, can be up to $200-300, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I pay 30, right? We pay about 30 a month. And listen, we are big, um, we're big tech people, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have, I have 4 computers running right now, and I've got several internets set up, right? And I've got my TV is on, even though I'm not watching it right now, right? We're always charging and plugging things in. So we use a lot of electricity here.
Yeah.
30 bucks a month, no AC. And we
Wow.
don't miss it. We got a couple ceiling fans. That's all we really need.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 70 degrees, that's the highs typically. And what does it drop down at night for how low does it go at night when you're going to
I
sleep?
don't I don't think I've ever seen it go below 60. Um,
Wow. Okay.
in general,
It's
it's
like
higher than
perfect.
that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've never seen it go below that. I've never seen it go above 90, and that's usually only during winter. That's just a couple hours a day
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so that's what we pay for utilities. And that's something to consider. When people go, "Oh, but Boquete's more expensive than other places." Yeah, but it's also there's a lot of other parts that are cheap, like that AC. That
Yes.
electrical bill can, you save $150 a month
Yeah.
there.
You're gonna pay 200 a month in Panama City
Right.
every month on that. And then yeah, so 30. So what do you
Yeah.
pay? What other utilities do you pay for? Like
Well, so we
water?
got we got our internet. Water we don't pay for. That comes,
Okay.
and I should say a lot of apartments often include utilities and internet,
Okay.
right? So a lot of times it pays those bills. Ours doesn't. Um, but I do believe she pays the water, which is good because I take a lot of showers. I
Yeah.
like my showers, right? Oh, love my showers. And so we pay our mobile bills. I think I pay $28 for that. That's a little bit more of the expensive plan. I use that because I kept running out of. I would have to do a hotspot occasionally with my job at the time, And
Okay.
so I would run out of hotspot, and then all of a sudden I couldn't use my internet or my mobile data anymore.
Okay.
So I went to a kind of a higher plan, but you can find plans as cheap as $22,
Okay.
maybe even cheaper. I don't know, but I know my wife's plan, I think it's $22
Okay.
a month. And then I pay, like I said, about $28 a month. Our internet, I pay, I just switched internet. Man, our internet before was pretty good, but it had started to slow down. And I was using Tigo, and Tigo, they use some really old routers, and I just couldn't get the speed I wanted. So I switched over to Mass Mobile, and I'm paying less now for internet. I pay before, I think I was paying about 62, $65. Now I'm paying $52, I want to say. But I got fiber optic now, right? Like
Okay.
I'm pumping out, 500, 800 megs per second.
Oh,
And
wow.
most of the time I get it. In the US they'll
Yeah.
tell you, yeah, you get up to this much, but most of the time I get that speed.
Yeah. What do you
So
need that speed for? What are you doing? You have like four computers.
yeah,
Are you like
yeah.
a grown-up gamer?
I am. I am a gamer. I never got rid of the games. I do. I have standing games during the week. Yesterday, I had my Baldur's Gate 3 game going. Tomorrow,
Wow. That's awesome.
tomorrow I have my Valheim, and then I also do uh, a lot of um, my writing, my animation, everything. I
Yeah.
store all my files on an internet drive on the cloud. So I'm constantly pushing data back and forth.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So now, all right. So you got 30 electric, water's free. You're doing about 52 for Wi-Fi. Do you do gas? And can you drink the tap water or do you have to buy water?
No, no, no. We can drink our water. It really depends, I guess, where you are in Panama. Not all the water is safe to drink, but
Yeah.
here in the town of Boquete, it's fine. And I've never been any place where you couldn't drink the water, right? I've
Okay.
been several different towns, and you could drink the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't buy water, but when it comes to gas, yes. So everything in my house, in most people's houses, runs on propane.
Okay.
And depending on the place, if you're renting or what you have, there's two different tanks. One's a pretty big tank. I want to say it's like maybe it's 75 pounds, I think.
Hmm.
And that's more expensive, and they come down and they pick up, refill your tank and everything for you. The other are little 25-pound tanks. That's what we use.
Okay.
And we pay the government subsidizes those, and so we pay about $5 a tank, somewhere
Okay.
around there. We have three tanks, which is really nice if you get multiple tanks. We've got a tank for our oven, we've got a tank for our dryer, and we've got a tank for our hot water.
Okay.
And yeah, and it's just I have to take the tanks to go switch them out, but I just bring my tanks and I give them to them and give them their $5 per tank, and
How
I don't
long?
change them that
Yeah.
often. Um, our oven and dryer goes through the gas pretty slow, so I probably change that every several months.
Okay.
But the one for our showers, our hot water, well, we change at least once a month. Sometimes we've even done two if we've had a guests and stuff stay over.
Hmm.
But again, it's $10, for my heat, right? For my
Yeah.
gas. So,
Yeah.
I don't mind that at all.
Well, sounds like you guys are probably under $100 a year on propane.
I don't know. There's
If you
12
if it's
months,
five if it's
five, I don't
five
know.
$5 for
Yeah, yeah, somewhere around 100, maybe slightly over, right? I know we're not spending more than $10 a month. Some months it's 10, some it's five.
okay.
But yeah, I'd say it's somewhere between 100, 120 a year.
Okay. And what do you guys do for groceries? And how much do you think you budget for groceries per month?
When it comes to food, it's just the two of us. And so we use a service called Two Guys in a Cooler for most of our meals, our actual meals. And they do a variety of foods. He makes them fresh every day, and then he freezes them and sells them to you at great prices. Like I get a big lasagna for like $8, and
Hmm.
it's enough for the two of us. We always get two portions at least out of each meal. So we probably spend there between 50 and I don't know, 75 a week.
Okay.
And then we just go to the grocery store for necessities, water, I'm sorry, milk, eggs, vodka, the important stuff.
Yeah.
And and we probably spend an additional, I don't know. I can't even imagine we're spending $100 at the grocery store because we're not buying a lot there. We get most of our meals already prepared. Um, and then we
Okay.
supplement that with going to restaurants and things like that.
So this meal thing that you do that you said you
Mhm.
pay like 50, $75 a
Yeah.
week. This guy prepares like lasagna. That's not, is it a to-go kind of restaurant thing or where you pick it's
Well, it's not a restaurant per se, right? It's kind of like what is that, Farm Fresh or what is that, Fresh Deals or something in the States. It's kind of like that where he delivers the food to us, right? So he's got a
okay.
menu, a changing menu every week, and we'll get on. I got a Sunday and I bought like a pot pie, a beef pot pie. Ooh, I'm having that tonight. I can't wait. I
Oh,
bought Thai food, Indian food.
wow.
I
Okay.
mean, he has huge variety of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I bought Sloppy Joe Heroes and stuff like that. And then I think I spent like $53, and I
O-
got easily, gosh, it must be 7, 8 meals.
Okay.
And and he delivers. I don't even have to go get it, the food. He just brings it to me. So that tends to be most of what we do when we're cooking food here is
Okay,
that.
so I'm gonna just lay this out for the viewers. You're living in Boquete. It's 70 degrees year round, drops into the 60s at night, perfect weather. You're gaming all day. You get vodka in your dinners delivered to you. I mean, you are absolutely living the dream that so many of these
Living the
viewers
life.
want. They're like going, what are we waiting for? I want to be Christopher. I mean, like,
Right?
it's like perfect. And
Nobody
then you
wants to
got
be
your
inside
theater
my head.
gig. You're like writing your scripts. A lot of people, for you guys that don't know, Christopher has written a well-known theatrical piece. You could tell them what it is.
Did Texas Chainsaw Musical?
Yeah.
Did Was very very popular in the States. I keep thinking, man, I'd like to put it on here, but I don't know how Boquete would take to it. There's a lot of blood and sex in it, right? So I don't
They're
know.
not
I
ready.
don't
They
know.
might not be ready, but give it a
I'm
couple
not
more
sure they're
years.
quite ready. But I'm also a published author. I just pushed out a new book. So I got 5 books out right now, and
Okay.
look me up on Amazon and leave me reviews and blah blah all that
What's the
fun.
name of the book, Christopher?
The one that just came out was called Bigger Than Jesus.
Okay.
It's a mystery novel, kind of a fantasy mystery novel. Um, Part of a big series that I have is several books to it. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean that's what I do. Is I write during the day and I do animation projects now, right? That's what my degree's in, and I
Yeah.
do whatever I want. And some days I just sit and I watch, YouTube all day long,
Yeah.
right? It's great. I always hear from people who are like, "Oh, I don't want to retire because I don't want to just sit on the couch all day." Well, you don't have to. You can make your retirement your own. The nice thing about being retired is you can do whatever you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Very
know,
true. Very true. So you can find your books on Amazon.
correct. Yeah,
You and you have do you have a website, Christopher?
I do. It's minorjoystudios.com. It's Minorjoy Studios with
And
an
can you
S.
find the books at your website as well?
Yes.
Or
Yeah,
in
you can
your
go there and it'll
Okay.
take you right over to the links for that. So if you like comedy, if you like kind of out there, I do absurdist
Yeah.
comedy, so if you like that, you'll enjoy it.
And how do people can you keep people still purchase that play and do they have to go directly through you for the rights to produce it?
They do have to go through us for the rights.
Okay.
And But if you just wanted to watch the play, it's on my YouTube site. The whole production is there if you want to watch it and just enjoy it. There's that one. There's another show I wrote, was a spoof on murder mysteries called Murder on Gilligan's Island. That one
Mhm.
I actually opened here in Panama, and that one did very well.
I
Also,
love
it
the
was
name of
nice.
that, man. That's
Yeah,
great. Well, just yeah, send me all the links. We'll put
Philly
that in the
stuff.
description below so people can purchase your books and check all this stuff out. Let me
Yeah,
know.
I'll do that.
Just to go back to you mentioned that you're paying about, you said 100 for groceries. Is that per week or per month?
Well, for our incidental groceries, that's about a month, and then we're maybe a little bit more, but right around there. And
Okay.
then, like I said, our meals that we're actually purchasing, we're not buying. We don't buy a lot of hamburger and stuff like that because we're getting these meals from two guys,
Sure.
and that we're probably spending about $50 on average a week. So, was it about 200? So maybe about 300 a month on groceries for the two of us.
Okay.
Now you can go more, right? You have to really, try to stick with Panamanian brands.
Yeah.
If you want to buy, you can buy U.S. food here and U.S. brands, right? But if you do, you're gonna pay more. Obviously, you got all the import fees and everything. So,
Yeah. Okay. All right, great information. Okay, so we talked about you ended up purchasing a vehicle to get around. You got a used
mm,
vehicle. But you said that the bus system was really terrific in Boquete. Even if you live outside of town, people
mhm.
you don't necessarily need a vehicle. How much do they charge to get around?
I can't tell you. I don't know. I don't think it's more than $1. I think it's less, and I
Okay.
don't know if you get the Hublado discount as possible. You might get an additional 25% off or something. Yeah, like I said, the only problem with the bus, I don't take it because I don't want to sit around waiting for a bus, right? I
Yeah.
just want to get to where I'm going. But I have friends who don't own a car. I have a friend who really lives in Panama, but she basically lives on the tourist visa, which is 6 months out of the year. So every 5 months she goes back to the States or whatever
Yeah.
for a month, and then she comes back. So she doesn't own a car. She for 2 to 3 months her license isn't even good here. And she's taken the bus and stuff, and she's gotten along around everywhere,
Yeah.
being able to do that. Her and her daughter used to.
Okay.
So they will. I mean, it's a fit for such a for what the country is. The transportation system is pretty good. You can get there. You might have to wait a while, you
Yeah.
know. And then I think things like buses and stuff. I think they stop running at night, like maybe after 9 or 10. This whole country shuts down around 10.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so let's now we got one. Have one more question, and it's we're going right back to the beginning. You left the U.S. because of healthcare.
Right.
Everybody wants to know what the healthcare is like in Panama. Um, do you have any facilities in Boquete? And what does it cost to pay for some kind of insurance or comprehensive plan, or do they just have a national kind of public healthcare system there?
Well, there is kind of a national system, but you have to be a citizen to use it.
Okay.
So, most of us aren't using it because most of us are residents.
Okay.
Um, I have actually had to use the system a lot more now, so I can give you even better costs and better idea. So there is a emergency clinic here in Boquete. There's a couple of doctors. You don't make appointments; you just walk in.
Okay.
You just walk in. I think it costs about $25. I've seen $20 to $25 for a walk-in appointment. I get I have bad arthritis. I get cortisone shots every 6 months. It costs me like $30,
Oh, wow.
for a cortisone shot.
Yeah.
Um, there is the major hospital is in David. There's another hospital between here. I can't remember what city it's in, but it's between Boquete and David. There's a smaller one. But I give you an idea. I thought I might have a hernia, and so I went to get an ultrasound at David, the hospital in David, Cherokee Hospital, and it cost me $80,
Wow.
for an ultrasound, right? And people were like, "Oh man." boy, they saw you coming. You should have gone to this other hospital. It's even cheaper, right? Um, so, but I'm like $80 for an ultrasound. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And then biggish. I don't have health insurance. When I first got here, I had thought about doing, for anything critical, getting health insurance, which is around $200 for a couple. Last I checked, it's about
Okay.
200. So it's still a great price. But we just, for whatever reason, we decided not to do it. We put money away. We're kind of doing our own healthcare account. But so I had an accident about a year ago. Um, uh, I'd been out, I'd been drinking a little bit, we came home, it was dark out. They had been doing some construction in our yard, so there were some bricks up that I had
Yeah.
forgotten about. And I was carrying big glass bottle, and I tripped on the bricks and I fell, and I didn't let go of the bottle. And so it smashed and just sliced right. I don't even know if you guys can see that scar,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
but
Oh, wow.
it sliced right through my veins. I almost bled to death.
Wow.
It was just, I mean, I was just bleeding out. And so there's, first of all, I should mention this. There's this great service here called Rodney Direct. And this guy, especially if you don't speak Spanish, this guy's great. He knows the lay of the land. He speaks Spanish. You have a problem, you call him up. You're driving down the street, you get stopped by the cops. You don't understand what they're saying. You call Rodney. Rodney will talk to them and walk you through the process and everything, right? And so, and it costs $100 a year for a family plan, I think is what
Hmm.
we pay,
Hmm.
and so worth it. And so my wife called Rodney, and he's like, "Okay, we didn't even realize this, but he's like, there's a little emergency clinic over in town. It's about 5 minutes from you." So we went there. By the time we got there, they were already waiting. He had called them and let them know that we were coming. And I had four nurses working on me for several hours, trying to sew up my wrist. I think I got somewhere between 8 and 12 stitches. I got uh, saline, of course. For some reason, they didn't give me blood. They didn't feel like they needed to give me blood. I guess I didn't because I survived it, but
Yeah.
I would have thought I needed it. But then I got my antibacterial stuff, antibiotics, and pain meds, and even a follow up appointment. And so we get ready to pay. And my wife had brought like $1,000. She's like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, what are we gonna owe?" And if I had gotten out of there for $1,000, I would have been amazed, right?
Yeah.
Because in the States, Jesus, that's thousands and thousands of
Yes.
dollars of work.
Yeah.
And so she goes, "What do we owe you?" $10.
Oh,
I
my.
paid $10 to
Wow.
to save my life.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. That is absolutely 100% true story. I mean, it was just, I couldn't believe it. I brag about it all the time now, right? Because it's just
Yeah.
like, that to me that's why we moved here, right?
Yeah.
Because of that cost of healthcare. And we got damn fine healthcare, right? Because everyone's like, yeah, okay, well, healthcare is cheaper over in that other country, but it's terrible. It's not. I mean, these guys were so amazing and
Yes.
did
Yes.
so well.
Yeah.
And 10 bucks, man. I mean, in the US, everybody in the US is one accident away from financial destitution.
Yes. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
and even if you do insurance, you can still get screwed. And plus you're paying, I was paying 500 a month for a family plan for insurance through my work,
Yeah.
which made it cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And I still had a $2,000 deductible, yearly
Yeah.
deductible.
Sure.
Here, I don't pay for health care here. I mean, I don't pay for insurance here. I pay out of pocket. It's affordable. It's good health care.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's just, blows my mind. I mean, I still can't get over how little it cost me.
Yeah.
We never would have imagined it.
Well, I'm glad that you're okay. That scar is right over where the one of the worst areas you can get a
Yeah.
severe cut. So you had to
Yeah.
be
No.
terrified for a while there.
Well, I was in shock. I think I was the
Yeah.
most calm of
Okay.
everybody there.
Oh, wow. Well,
Um,
that's good because you're not your heart isn't racing
Yeah.
as much,
Yeah,
and
I was pretty calm, but my wife was freaking out, and thank God Rodney was there because he really helped her. I don't think my wife's one of the most brilliant people I know, but she just lost her mind. She didn't know what to do.
yeah,
Her husband sitting there just bleeding out onto the sidewalk, and
yeah. What is
so
Rodney's service called again, Christopher?
Rodney Direct,
Rodney Direct. It sounds like that's a life-saving type of
absolutely,
service.
literally for me. Right,
Rodney
it
Direct.
literally was for me. Yeah, and if you're coming here as a new expat, get it for at least the first year, right?
Yeah.
Even if you don't use it, it's $100 a year, and it's cheaper if you're just a single person.
Wow.
Um, and it can save you from so much. You just call the guy when you didn't. What we got? We were driving to one of the beaches, and my friend's car, she accidentally locked it. And we wound up calling Rodney, and he called up some locksmiths and sent them over to unlock our car for us.
Wow. What a
Yeah,
resource. Oh,
yeah,
absolutely. For $100 a year. Yeah, Rodney Direct.
yeah.
Definitely. Um, wow. Well, I'm glad you're okay and that turned out okay. And you're right. I mean, it's a sad reality about the United States and a
Yeah,
lot of people. And the other thing on top of it, and I hate to bash, I think healthcare is great, and I think the people that work in healthcare are great, but I just think that the system is so strained and stressed that people don't get compassionate care anymore.
right.
It's and they don't and you're in and out as quickly as possible. And you're
Yeah, the
right. I mean,
liability is huge for them, right?
it's a
Because they're
liability.
getting sued all the
They're
time,
getting
and so
sued.
they're worried. And the court systems work a little bit different here, right? It's not everybody is suing everybody else, so you don't have to deal with that liability a lot, that cost and everything.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of people that do have insurance in the US and something catastrophic happens and they find out and learn later on that that insurance will not cover
Right?
certain aspects of whatever that is. And so they still have to file bankruptcy. That
Yeah,
happens,
yeah. It
even with
happens a
insurance.
lot. It
Yeah.
happens a lot in the U.S.
Yeah. It's
Um,
there needs to be something that, and they've been saying this for, over 20 years. I did a video not long ago on in the past 20 years, it's been still the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States is healthcare.
yeah, yeah.
So for 20 years, if it's the leading cause to financial just wreckage, what's
Right.
going on? Why is
No,
why aren't
and
they
it's
coming
it's a
together
shame.
to fix this? It's
Yeah,
been
it's the
20 years now.
U.S., right? How can the
It's like,
U.S., one of, I mean, I don't want to pick countries against each other, but obviously one of the first world countries, top and the healthcare they have there is amazing.
yeah,
So the fact that so many people are either dying from poor healthcare or financially, you know, bankrupting themselves is, I mean, it's a shame. It's a crime,
yeah, yeah,
honestly, when a
yeah.
small country like Panama can deliver um, great healthcare at a very, very low cost.
Yes.
It's it just boggles the mind. It really does.
Yes, it does. Well, that's everything, Christopher. Is there anything else you can think of we didn't discuss about Boquete that comes to mind that you could share with the viewers that are watching, thinking, I've always thought about Panama. Panama's been like the number one expat
Yeah,
destination for the last 2 years
yeah,
in the entire world. I mean, it's an
yeah.
amazing country.
Longer than that, because it was that when I was looking into it, and that was, probably 6 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago that I started looking into Panama.
Yeah.
So pets, if you're going to bring your pet, because a lot of people want to bring their pets, there's a lot of extra hoops you got to run through. Don't wait till the last minute. You have to deliver certain. I didn't bring a pet. I bought one when I got here, or I got
Mhm.
one when I got here. But for the people I know who got pets, there's this paperwork you do, and the moment you get it signed off on, you got 30 days to get your pet into the country, or you got to start all over again. So definitely, if you got pets, don't wait till the last minute. If you have a bunch of dogs. If you've got dogs you can't take on a regular plane, a lot of times you can find people who group together and they all chip in to rent a plane so everybody can bring their dogs and stuff. So, you can look for those. The pet care here is pretty good too. My cat has had a few problems and he's terrified of leaving the house. So
Okay.
I can't take him to a vet. But we have a vet here that makes house calls.
Oh,
It's like,
wow.
yeah, it's like, oh God, what do we pay? I think we paid $30 for a house call, $40 if it's on a weekend, you know,
It's so
and
fantastic.
it's so
It's
worth it for my cat,
yeah,
for
yeah.
his peace of mind.
That is amazing. All right. Well, Christopher, thank you so much again, man,
Yeah,
for taking the time to do this. It's been great seeing you. Check out, we're going to put all the links in the description so that people can and look at your work, your books, and
sounds
and
good. I'll send that to you. And
your plays,
you know,
and
s-
uh, and
same
then if
thing I
you,
said before. If anybody is interested in talking, or you're coming to visit Boquete, you just want a friend here to have a drink with and ask your questions and stuff. I love talking about Boquete. I love talking and convincing people to move here. I just absolutely love it. So just reach out to me on Facebook Messenger. It's probably the easiest way to find me.
all right, and we'll put that link in the description below. Okay. Well, thanks, Christopher, again, man. Have a great rest of your day. Great seeing you.
All right. Thanks, mate.